Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another live this morning. And we'll wait a moment or two as usual and let our folks get their notifications that we're on. And we appreciate everyone coming on as usual. And we'll say hello to a few folks because we got to do the roll call. And who's up first? Well, Kevin from Oshawa, numero uno today. Jen, Cape Breton, Rosa, good morning. Francis Marie, Rosalinda, Niagara Falls, Nativity, good morning. And Mary, good morning. And Mike from Norland, Julie, good morning. Bethel, Betty Lynn, and Denise, Sandy, Washington State, good morning. Wendy, Markham, Deb, Timmons, Louise, and Evelyn, and Janice, Elaine, and Gary, Annette, Derek, good morning. Georgie, Halifax, Milika, good morning from Stouffville. Robin from Connecticut. Jeanette, good morning. Jan, Flin Flon, Manitoba. Thea, Saskatchewan. Fran, Val Karen, Chantal, Ottawa. Another Fran from Tilsonburg. Karen, Muskoka. Barbara from Atlanta. Donna from Bell Valley, Ontario. Sandra, good morning. Michelle, good morning. Ernsdale. Dayton, Ohio. Dawn. Luella, Tennessee. And she says it's cold there today. Well, it ain't as cold as here. Moncton, New Brunswick. Who did I just miss? I missed two. One from Newfoundland. I didn't see it. Went by too fast. Barbara from Kansas, Mary, PEI, Sue. Guys, sorry if I miss your name here. IT, Unionville. LaShawn, Greenville, Texas. Good morning. Catherine, Parksville, British Columbia. Jeanette from our staff. Sue, good morning. Manitoulin Island. Carol, Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. Claudia, Brassard, Quebec, bonjour. Sue, Donna. Okay, couple more, guys. Kathy from the Philippines. Well, good. Probably what? Good evening. Rich, Susan, Rose, Brampton, Hannah, good morning. And Deb, Sturgeon Falls. Fran from Orangeville. And Jean. Guys, like I said, I know I miss a lot of you. Helen, good morning. Chantal from Sudbury, we appreciate you. Okay, well, you know what I'm going to talk about? Yesterday, I talked about gut and sleep, the connection between your brain and the gut, and what sleeping, lack of sleep even does to the gut. It's all fascinating stuff. But yesterday, I read another article, and it was saying that 70 million Americans have gut problems. They called it IBS. 70 million Americans suffer from IBS. Now, you and I know that a lot of people that have what we call leaky gut may not have any digestive symptoms at all. But what we're going to talk about this morning is the 70 million Americans and what that translates into Canada. Usually, probably, 10 million Canadians have digestive issues. Now, maybe, like I said, you can have leaky gut without any digestive symptoms. because that happens at a microscopic level, and leaky gut can mean problems elsewhere. For example, skin problems. Anything that you see on your skin, you can trace it back to your gut. I mean, almost invariably. And so that's really important, isn't it? Okay? Like, I always worked on the gut whenever I had skin problems. Okay? But let's talk about actual painful gut. Okay? Now, I'm bringing out my old atlas for those who are going to listen to this on the podcast. I want you to visualize this to my live audience. They can see it. I bring out my old atlas that I went to school with in the 1970s. And it was a tool that helped me. I'm big on visuals, okay? So for me, that really helped me. So what we're looking at here, and it says right on the top, and you'll see it sort of backwards here, diseases of the digestive system. But we're not even going to talk about disease. We're going to talk about discomfort this morning. 70 million Americans, millions and millions of people suffer on a daily basis. So what are we looking at? We're looking at the gut and we're looking at the stomach, because it's really important to put the two together, okay? It's really important to put the two together, because if you want to fix your gut, you got to take an approach to fix both ends, the stomach and the bowel, okay? From the small intestine right through to the large intestine, you want to fix it from top to bottom. Now, let's get into, first of all, what causes IBS? What causes it? Okay? And the number one problem is antibiotics. It's the number one problem. Antibiotics wipe away your good bacteria. You could have taken an antibiotic as a kid, and in 5 days, it will wipe out your microbiome, your good guys. It'll get rid of the bad guys. The problem is it gets rid of the good guys too. And that's a big, big issue. So the number one cause, and listen, I love antibiotics until I don't. Okay? Like antibiotics, if you need one, you need one. Am I against them? No. Just understand the double-edged sword of antibiotics. My audience is very familiar with the destructive nature of antibiotics. And so at the Martin Clinic, we've always said this: if you need an antibiotic, you take an antibiotic. I wouldn't take it for prevention, ever. And dentists, I call them out. I say, you don't have to do that. You know, I know you want to use antibiotics because you don't want an infection. So you tell people, take an antibiotic and whatever before you come and see me. I don't like that. There's no need for it. You take probiotics, you take oil of oregano, and you never take an antibiotic as a prevention, in my opinion. Number two, ladies, for you especially, when you get a bladder infection and it's really burning, I mean, it's painful. Okay, take an antibiotic. But this is according to research. You take that antibiotic to get rid of the symptoms, the burning, the pain, and that's anything. Sinus infection or whatever, and you're on an ear infection, you're on an antibiotic or whatever. Take it for a couple of days. Once the pain is gone, stop. The old adage that you were to take those antibiotics to finish them, because what they taught, which was never true, is that if you don't finish them, that bacteria's infection's coming back. That's not true. And now, and it's amazing how this research got buried, is that they're showing, don't take those antibiotics forever until, finish the dosage. I'm surprised that pharmacists don't tell you this. And the other thing that pharmacists should be doing, the second you go into the pharmacy to pick up a prescription for an antibiotic, they should be telling you to take a probiotic. And really what you should do, okay, so let's not, I don't want to get into the weeds right away because I got a lot of things I want to cover when it comes to gut, okay? But the number one cause of digestive issues, it doesn't happen right away, is if you look back, yes, those antibiotics, that started a disruption, okay? That started a disruption of the microbiome. When the microbiome gets disrupted, you don't digest properly, you don't have enough friendly bacteria. And what I teach you all the time, when there's not enough good guys, you get an invasive species. You want to talk about something that will turn your gut upside down, is yeast. Now, again, teaching in the small intestine, okay? So I'm going to show you a picture of that, okay? Because it's the closest to the stomach. I'm going to show you what happens here at the small intestine where my finger is. For those on a podcast, what I was pointing out is the small intestine. What happens in the small intestine is yeast, a fungal overgrowth. SIBO. And we renamed it SIFO, small intestine fungal overgrowth, because that's what happens. So, antibiotics are non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, like even taking folks, look, if you take an Advil, who cares? You take a Tylenol, you got a headache, I get it, okay? You want to pinch that pain off. I get it. But I know people, millions of people that live on that stuff on a daily basis. They have no idea of the havoc they are creating in the body. And they got pain, I get it. But just understand that even that if you can get those things over the counter, that doesn't mean that they're harmless. They are far from harmless. And it's a lot of times it's silent because they destroy without, you don't know, you might not feel it right away. These things are delayed reactions, and you get a yeast, the invasive army. And again, that doesn't happen rapidly. You don't necessarily feel it right away. But yeast can permeate. And we're not even going to talk about when yeast gets into the bloodstream. We're just talking about yeast overgrowing the gut and the small intestine. And then it can get up even in that digestive tract into the sinuses. And anyway, we're not going to get bogged down. Let's keep going. Other causes, okay, of digestive issues, antibiotics, NSAIDs, which are non-steroidal anti-inflammatories like Advil, Tylenol, those things. Now, thirdly, controversial, but it's true, fiber. Ooh, fiber's so overrated. Now, you won't hear that. You won't. You generally won't hear it, but it's true. Think about this. I'm going to show you, okay? Again, visualize, folks. Visualize for those that are not here. See, what does your gut look like here? A tube. A hose. You know what fiber does? It clogs it up. Why? I never understood why you want to clog up something that's already clogged up. Put more stuff that's already clogged up. I don't get it. Fiber's overrated. And so people that, they live on fiber, they insist on eating glorified grass salad and living on that stuff, because a lot of people do. They don't realize they're just packing up the gut. They're packing it up. And most fibers are insoluble, meaning they're headed for the toilet. Okay. So, I'm just telling you, whenever I got IBS in the office, without exception, I would try and convince them to trust me for 30 days and get off all fibers. No more cereal, no more, oh, Dr. Martin, if I don't have my all brand, I'm not going to be able to go to the bathroom. I need to have more fiber. Yeah, but that was brought to you by the cereal companies. The fiber. Okay? Now, I'm not saying you can't have any fiber, okay? I'm just telling you it's overrated. And when you think about this. If you got a wound, do you go rub it? Do you take out sandpaper and rub on a wound even more? That's what fiber does. Raw vegetables. What do you think they do? It rubs, it's like sandpaper. And you know about spinach. Where does it get caught? Eh? You're talking to me and you got spinach in the middle of your teeth. It gets caught in your gut too. Especially along the, I'm going to show you here. Okay? Again, diseases of the digestive system. Where do you see, okay, and I don't know if you guys see this very well, but these are called, you see these little pouches in the transverse colon here, okay? On the left side of your gut, diverticulosis. Millions and millions of people have diverticulosis. Why do they get diverticulosis? Well, first of all, antibiotics. Second of all, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. And third of all, their fiber, fiberholics. I just made that up. They're fiberholic. You are not a rabbit. You don't have an enzyme called cellulase to break down cellulose. You're not a rabbit. You don't have 4 stomachs like a cow. They're meant to eat grass, so you don't have to. They're meant to eat the salad, so you don't have to. Salad. Okay. Anyway. Oxalates. Oxalates irritate your gut. They're hard on your kidneys, that's for sure. But oxalates found in the veggie kingdom can irritate the gut. Okay? Almond, Dr. Martin, I gotta drink almond milk. Isn't that a good substitute for drinking milk? Almond milk? No, it's not. Well, how about oat milk? No. You're not a cow. Okay? You don't need it. Drink water. Water fixes your gut better than fiber fixes your gut. Water. Wash it out. Clean it out. Take your hose. Drink a water. And it'll clean your hose out. Okay? That's important. Okay, other causes. Lectins. What are lectins? Well, when you eat beans and chickpeas and stuff like that. Again, I'm not telling you never to have that, okay? Don't come after me because Dr. Martin, he is so negative. And I'm just being a realist. If you got a gut that's irritated, don't take out the sandpaper and start eating sandpaper. Lectins can be very, very irritating to the gut. Gluten. I always used to say gluten schmooten. And the reason I say that, it's not so much the gluten, it's the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, what they do, okay? What they do. Carbs suck up water. They're sponges. They make everything bloat. Wheat. Yeah. Okay? It's not like it used to be, my friend. We don't live in the 1800s. Now they process this stuff. And yeah, gluten, I guess, like I just not, like I know it's a big thing today. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist in Crohn's and this kind of stuff, that gluten. I get it. But if you lay off the carbs, it really makes a difference because carbs are sponges. They carry 5 to 6 times their weight in water. And they create big stool. And you don't win a prize for having a big stool. Okay? There's no prize at the end. Honestly. Okay? GMOs. Corn. Soy. I read this article. Let me give it to you because it comes in here. And this one, it was on the glyphosate. You know what that is, like Roundup. Here is the Canadian, okay? So 70 million Americans got IBS. Here's a Canadian thing from the, where did I get that? Canadian Food Inspection Agency. Listen to this. Glyphosate. You know what glyphosate does? Like Roundup? It's a pesticide, right? It's a pesticide. And it's everywhere, guys. You're not going to get away from it. It's everywhere. And especially GMO stuff. Okay? Soy, corn. But here's what it says. 90% of all pizza has glyphosate. Roundup. You think your gut likes Roundup? You don't think that doesn't irritate? Besides doing a lot of other things? It's an endocrine disruptor, but it can disrupt your gut. The poor kids today. You know what? They're growing up in a world, and good luck. 90% of all pizza tested in Canada, 88% of wheat flour, 84% of all crackers, 84% of all pastas, and 75% of all oats, anything oat, have And almonds have the highest. I missed that. Almonds. Okay? And that's glyphosate. Irritates. You're going to get away from it? Probably not completely. Okay? It's just the world we live in. It's the way it is. And I'm not optimistic we're going to get rid of all that stuff, but what I want you to do is protect yourself. But if someone has irritation, that's why I'm so big on the reset. Because it keeps you away from most of this stuff that irritates the gut. And nothing worse, by the way, nothing worse at the top of the food chain is sugar. Because sugar feeds yeast, one. And, okay, now let me just show you, because I'm going to go to the top here and show you the stomach, okay? Now, study after study after study talks about the sugar, what it does to your stomach. Never mind your gut, what it does to your stomach. Very, very hard on the stomach. And I'm going to tell you something that you probably won't hear, and I've said it to you before, but people, like folks, listen to me. Your stomach, okay, your stomach was made to eat meat. Especially red meat. What? Yes. Let me finish. Because I know. People question that. What do you mean by that, Doc? Well, I said, why do you think you have such a very, very high acidity in the stomach? A very, very low pH. It's a furnace, man. Your stomach is a furnace. It's meant to break down red meat, especially steak, vitamin S. But if you don't use it, you lose it. Don't use it, you lose it. So what happens? Your pH comes up. Your pH comes up. Because you're not eating the right food. You're a carbaholic. Your gut wasn't made, your stomach wasn't made for all those carbohydrates. It wasn't. It was made to eat eggs, meat, and cheese. And you need acidity, especially real good acidity, for your meat. Now listen, in the stomach, you have proton pumps. They pour out acid. But you see, it's in a container. That's where it belongs. Acidity belongs in the stomach. But if you don't use it, you lose it, just like your gallbladder. You want to know why you get gallbladder problems? The doctor says, I eat too much meat. No, you don't. You don't eat enough. It's the opposite. It's the same thing with your stomach. The upper GI. Why do I got so much stomach trouble? Because you're a carbaholic. Put your hand up and admit it. You got to start there. You got to start there. Your body wasn't made for that. And when you do the opposite of what God created your body for, you're going to pay the price. Here we are today, and the proof of the pudding is this. Think about this. 70 million people have gut. They didn't even talk about the stomach. They got gut issues. 70 million Americans. Tens of millions of Canadians. And never mind acid reflux, which is, I mean, it's an epidemic today. tum to the tum-tums, and eat whatever you feel like, have another slice of pizza, and then take tum to the tum-tums, Rolaids, and I wish I would have invested in that stuff. But it's the wrong food. And then, of course, it feeds your yeast, the invasive army. You want to know why there's so much digestive issues? That's why. Those are the main culprits. And that's why even people who just do the reset, yeah, you know what, doc? I feel better. My gut's better. Yeah. And how can that happen without fiber, doc? You'll be surprised. Drink water. Drink water. And drink coffee. That's all. Don't drink nothing else, honey. I spend a lot of my time, or I used to, convincing people to limit their drinking. What? Yeah, you don't need milk. Drink cream. And I'd rather you eat cheese. Not that I don't like cream, I do. But you don't need, if kids insist, you got to be a little bit more creative with kids. That's why Dr. Martin's Perfect Smoothie. For kids. And for you adults. Okay. Now let's spend the rest of the time, because I've been pontificating long enough. Let's talk about, okay, now you tell us what causes, what irritates. Let's fix it, doc. Fix it. Okay. Numero uno. On the hit parade. Probiotics. Broad spectrum probiotics. Make sure they're good probiotics that get past the digestive acid in your stomach. Okay? That's what we do with ours. Best quality probiotic. Love that. Broad spectrum. I pick out those strains. I've been doing this a long time. I know what the best are. Anyway, probiotics. I like fermented foods. I do. I stay away from the kombucha usually, because it's usually just garbage. But I like fermented foods. I'm big. I like pickles. Okay? I do. Okay. 2, digestive enzymes. Don't leave home without them. They're so good. As we get older, our enzymes go down. We don't make as much. But if you're struggling, work both ends. At the top, your stomach, and help your digestion. It will help your body, those proton pumps. You don't have to take acid. You can actually take enzymes that help, because when you take away and you start breaking down food from the top, it really makes a difference. You want to microsize food for your small intestine. And if you don't have a furnace that's working in the stomach, digestive enzymes are my favorite. They really are. Okay? And again, I add oil of oregano to them, thyme. There's a reason for it, because I'm trying to kill SIBO at the same time. SIFO. That yeast. I go after the yeast, top to bottom. Probiotics, digestive enzymes. Okay? Did I talk to you about water yet? Yep. 2 liters. 2 liters of water. Okay? Now, really important, okay? Don't eat at night. Don't eat at night. You got a gut that's not good. You got an irritation there. Then don't try and stop eating 5, 6 o'clock at night and then don't eat. Time restricted eating, okay, or intermittent fasting. And if you don't have to, if you got a gut that's not good and you don't have to have breakfast, well, then, maybe try and skip that too, maybe, until you fix it. I find that really helpful, especially not eating at night. Give your digestive tract a real break. Gallbladder, give it a break. First thing I tell them when someone's got stones, don't eat at night. Don't eat at night. Your body will perform miracles. Okay? Time-restricted eating. Digestive enzyme. I love bone broth. Bone broth is one of the greatest protein shakes that you can make yourself. Okay? Why is that? Because bone broth has especially a regenerative capacity in it. It's called L-glutamine. L-glutamine really regenerates. I've been using L-glutamine for many, many, many years, and bone broth is the best source of it. Okay? The best source of it. I love bone broth. Bone broth, if you're going to use a protein powder, like the problem with whey, and I don't like vegetable proteins, they can irritate. Whey can irritate. I'm not saying it's no good, but a lot of people are irritated by that. That's why which is a much better, with collagen, that really helps to regenerate the gut and the L-glutamine. The best form of collagen is bone broth. That helps to regenerate the gut. Elimination, we talked about that. What do you eliminate? And what do you add? Water. Do you know that coffee is good for your gut? I told you. Do you know that coffee is actually better than fiber? I told you. It does, because it stimulates. Here's the proof in the pudding. It stimulates the 10th cranial nerve, and it relaxes your bowel. Coffee. What another reason to drink vitamin C. Wow. I tell you, stick with me, my friend. I'm going to bring you a lot of stuff on coffee. Well, I always have and I always will. Okay. Eliminate and add. Eliminate. Got to eliminate. You got to give your gut a rest. Eliminate. Get off the sugars. Get off the crappy carbs. Get off the fibers. Get off the lectins. Get off the gluten schmuten. Get off the wheat. Get off all that stuff. Get off the sponges. Okay? Get off that stuff. The oxalates. Give your bowel a rest. Time-restricted eating. Okay? You got the memo? Okay, great. You guys are wonderful. Putting up with my shenanigans. I love it. I love you guys because we appreciate you. The audience is the difference. It really does make a difference. It makes a difference with Facebook. So if you share this and your friends and family and you get them to join our Martin Clinic Facebook group, it's all good stuff, guys, because it really makes a difference in, I don't even understand half of it, but it really does. Okay, by the time today is done, just on this alone, we have a live audience of over 400 right now. You know what? It'll be at 10,000 by the time this day is over. Views of this broadcast. And then on the podcast, we're over 1 million. That's you guys that did that. It's you guys. Okay? So tell your friends, tell your family. We appreciate it. I appreciate you. I wish I could meet every one of you individually and meet you and give you a hug, because I'm a hugger. Okay? Okay. Guys, we love you. Talk to you soon.